Good evening. It's 7:30, and I herewith call the December 20th, 2017 meeting of Gaithersburg's Historic District Commission to order. And I'd first like to read the provision under which we're operating. This commission is empowered to meet and act under Article 12 of the City Code of Gaithersburg. The technical qualifications of the staff of this commission and the members of this commission are on file with the City of Gaithersburg, are available on request to any applicant, and are hereby made a part of the legal record of each and every application heard this evening. Each application heard this evening is considered on its own merits and is not to be considered as establishing a precedent for any other application. So, may we have a roll call?
Frank Johnson.
Gregory Meem.
Mark Feinstein.
Mary Jo LaFrance.
Chris Kurtz?
John Roddy.
Dean Ventola.
Chris Berger.
Fine. We have a quorum. Our first activity tonight is the approval of the minutes from the November 29th meeting. Have the commissioners had a chance to look at them?
Yes.
Any comments, suggestions? Okay. The chair is open to a motion to approve the minutes as provided by staff.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very well. Our first historic work area permit review is at 321 Kent Square Road. Have window replacement and door replacement. Have we a presentation?
We do. The Kentlands Carriage House is a one-story colonial revival style building that was constructed circa 1920. The property is zoned MXD, mixed-use development, and is individually designated. The HOP comes before the HDC in accordance with Section 24-227A of the City Code. The applicant seeks to replace the windows and doors on the front elevation. The fenestration was installed circa 2000 when the carriage house was rehabilitated. The HDC initially reviewed the application at its October 25th meeting and deferred the application to a future meeting date when a representative from the Kentland Citizens Assembly could attend and provide elevations to the proposed windows and doors on the south elevation. The HDC also expressed preference for the doors to be made completely out of wood and include panels in keeping with staff's recommendation. The applicant initially also sought to replace the 4 2/2 double-hung sash wood windows on the rear elevation, but the applicant has since withdrawn its request to replace those 4 windows. What you are seeing here are the existing elevations on top for the south elevation and the 2 options for the windows that were provided by the applicant. The Historic District design guidelines for the Brooks, Russell, and Walker Historic District and individually designated sites apply. It notes the following on house design elements: that new, additional, or replacement construction work on existing houses should be compatible with historical design elements. For doors, they note that any doors visible from the street should be made of wood and in the style of the house. Finally, window lights should be duplicated. And the applicant provided these photos to show the design inspiration for the proposed windows and doors. These are the historical window designs found on the carriage house, which you see here. This is the south elevation, which they seek to replace. Down here is the rear elevation, and they would like to now keep those windows. And here's the DPZ office. Again, you see the 2/2 sash windows. And the doors on the arts barn have 4 lights. And the windows on the arts barn, they are replacement, but they are 2/2 sash windows. And here, this photo shows the relationship between the carriage house, our subject building, and the arts barn, which is right next door. And representing the KCA tonight are Ruth Sally Wyke and Beth Brittingham. If you can please come to the desk.
Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you would start off by giving your names for the record, please.
Yeah, Ruth Sally Wyke.
Beth Brittingham.
Thank you.
Just, I think Chris did an excellent job presenting our revised proposal, so it's up to you to ask whatever questions you have of us. I just want to clarify, I serve as a Kentlands Historic Trust member, so I am in representation of the Architectural Review Board in support of Beth, who represents the CMC.
Okay, thank you. Now, first off, do we have any conflicts on the dias here?
No.
No.
All right, thank you. Mark, let me start with you.
I actually don't have any questions. I appreciate the presentation.
I don't have any questions.
No questions.
Dee?
No questions, other than selecting option 1 or 2. Is there anything we should discuss?
Well, I bat last as usual. It looks great. I do opt for option 1 as well. It does seem more consistent. So the chair is open to a motion.
Do you want to ask if anyone in
Oh, I apologize. Is there, forgive me. This is why I have a wonderful vice chair, and if that doesn't work, we have counsel here as best he can. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to this in any fashion? All right, thank you. All right, so the chair is open to a motion.
I move that we adopt the recommended motion from the city.
All right, have we a second?
the, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 5-0, Chris. Thank you very much.
Do we need to read that for the record, or is it?
Which option do we have?
So just to clarify, the motion that you quoted on the recommendation from staff, it recommends option 1?
Yes, and
Yes.
actually, it does have 2
Probably would be.
conditions.
I can read. I'll
Okay.
read the whole
Would be
thing. Just so
helpful to
Yeah.
Thank you.
go ahead and clarify
So,
just what it is.
yeah, sure. I move that the Historic District Commission, based on the exhibits submitted and the staff report, findings and recommendations, approve HIST-7746-2017, windows and doors replacement on the front south elevation, finding it to be in compliance with section 24-227.2 of the city code with 2 conditions. 1, prior to the issuance of a commercial renovation permit, applicant to provide staff door details showing all 4 replacement doors made of wood and consisting of raised panels, and applicant to install window configuration option number 1 on the front south elevation.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank
and
you.
happy holidays to you.
Same to you.
You as well.
And just so that the record's clear,
Yes, sir.
the second agrees with that specific, and everybody voting in favor of that motion agrees?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
That is
All right,
consistent.
thank you,
All the
council.
members, all the
Thank you,
members
council.
have spoken and said so, so
Yes.
we're
Right.
clear. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank
thank
you.
you, Frank. Our next item is a tree removal. Have we a
And
presentation?
you're replacing windows as well.
Oh, wait. Oh, yes, and replacing windows and installing 2 window wells.
The residence at 114 Meem Avenue, known as the Cole Ward House, is a 1-story bungalow residence that was constructed circa 1937. The property is zoned R90 and contributes to the Chestnut Mead Historic District. The applicant proposes 3 work items. The first is removal of the tree in the rear yard, which is, the location is indicated in green here. Number 2 is replacement of all 4 basement windows. They are on the east and west elevation. And the last is installation of window wells at the 2 basement windows on the west elevation. So it's these 2 here. The HDC provided the applicant with an informal review of the replacement of the basement windows and installation of window wells at its August 24th, 2016 meeting in anticipation of submittal of a HOP at a future date, which is tonight. At the time, the applicant proposed replacing the 3 light metal hopper windows on the west elevation with 1/1 vinyl sash windows with corresponding metal window wells. The applicant also proposed replacing the basement windows on the east elevation with 1/1 sliding vinyl windows. The HDC encouraged the applicant to retain the existing windows and install egress windows below. And this was the example provided to the applicant of a similar situation. The HDC also sought the planting of bushes along the window wells to screen them from the street. The Chestnut and Meem Historic District guidelines apply. trees require a replacement to be planted if they're larger, or if they are on a, if they're in the 1999 tree inventory, which was the case with this subject tree. Under house design elements, new, additional, and replacement construction work should be compatible. And for materials, deteriorated historic features shall be repaired rather than replaced. Where the severity of deterioration requires replacement of a distinctive feature, the new feature shall match the old in texture, design texture, and other visual qualities, and where possible, materials. For windows and storm windows, it says retain, repair, or duplicate original sash, glass, and lintels. And now for the work items, I'll go through them. The applicant seeks to remove this white oak tree, the one in the foreground. According to the applicant, the tree produces a lot of debris that are falling in the neighbor's yard. You can see this is the fence close to or on the property line. The applicant also has water intrusion issues in the basement, and so they hope that the removal of this tree will help with grading, and also it'll eliminate some of the leaves that are clogging the gutters here. Next, the applicant proposes to replace all 4 metal basement windows. The applicant seeks more efficient windows here. This is the east elevation. There's a window hiding behind the air conditioner, and there's one in the foreground here. And here's the west elevation. This is a representative photo of one of the windows from the exterior. And here's a representative photo of the interior. You can't tell too well from my photos, but they are rusted all the way around. And I tried to open them, and they just wouldn't budge. The existing windows measure 33.5 by 15 inches. The 2 windows on the east elevation will be 3-light vinyl 700 series Anderson American Craftsman Series picture windows that measure 34 by 14 inches. This is an example. We don't have a better example, but this is what the window would look like, similar to the existing. The 3-light fixed vinyl windows proposed by the applicant for the on the east elevation would match the existing in design and appearance and are nearly identical in size. The windows would also be compatible with the existing 6/6 windows on the residence, and I'll go back to a photo so you can see how they somewhat line up with the lights on the 6/6 windows. And for the 2 egress windows on the west elevation, they would be 4-light casement windows with 3 lights at the top and a large light at the base that will measure 33.5 by 49 inches. As for the window wells, the applicant proposes to build the interior out of concrete block, and they provided this photo to show. And they would have metal grates on top. The wells would be rectangular shaped to fit these grates. The window wells will extend to the top of the basement window openings, approximately 1.5 feet above grade. I'll go back and show that. So they would need to, the grates would need to reach the tops of the existing basement windows. Staff supports construction of the window wells with concrete block below grade. However, staff contends that the lips of the window wells that will extend above grade should be built of a material that is more compatible with the building. And this is an example of paved stone retaining wall block. We believe that this would be a more suitable material for the window well lips, and we seek a condition that the blocks be approved by staff prior to issuance of a residential improvement permit. And I have a few other examples of paved stone block that we think would be appropriate for the lips rising above the ground. And here's another one. And finally, staff would like the applicant to plant bushes to screen the window wells from the right-of-way. So the applicant, Edgar Rodriguez, and the homeowner, Edith Flores, are here if you have any questions. If you would please come sit at the table up front and state your names for the record. Can you state your names, please?
Okay. Hello, my name is Edith Flores.
Edgar Rodriguez.
Welcome. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank
You don't have to, and you're welcome to say anything you'd like regarding your application.
Well, in the photo, he didn't show you the Anderson. There was like six 6x6. That's what's in the Home Depot in stock. And if you guys approve that, that's great. The other window has to be ordered, special order. That's let you know that. And that's going to cost more money to
All right.
do that job.
Thank you. Thank you.
So if I could clarify with the applicant, so you would prefer 6/6 windows in the window wells?
That's more easy to
Okay.
to get it.
They
Okay.
have in stock.
Yes.
They provided me with this photo of the 4 light windows
Right.
for the egress windows, but their
Right.
preference would be 6/6.
Right, but if it's easier to, rather than special order,
Mhm.
right.
That takes more
Um,
money.
Okay, thank you. Now, is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address this application?
Excuse me.
All right. Yes. Oh, I'm going to check for conflicts, young Meem Avenue resident you. Have we perchance any possible conflicts
I
on the
just
deals?
want to disclose that we live in the same historic district. We're neighbors.
Yes.
Can we count on you
You
to
can
be
count on me to
thoroughly
be
professional
thoroughly
and
professional.
objective and not swayed in any way, even though I understand the applicant is a fantastic cook? You would not be bribed with?
Would not be bribed with great
Okay, very
food.
well, thank you. It's an honor to serve with you. Okay, Dean, let me start at your end.
Okay, first on the windows, it's not something that we are supposed to comment on, but if you change casement window to double hung, which sounds like he is 6/6, okay, the area of egress is a whole lot smaller, which means the window needs to be a whole lot bigger. So it's not our business to say, but I do want to point that out to you when you're doing it, to keep that in mind.
Yep.
Okay. Can you check, can you turn to a photo that shows the two trees that are fronting, one fronting the other? Yeah, I understand that the one in the foreground is coming down because it is, according to the application, putting debris down on the neighbor. My question, though, is the tree right behind it not doing the same? So I guess, why did you select one versus the other?
One is very strong, and the other one is like hanging to the neighbor.
Okay,
That's the reason.
okay. Is there another photo that may show that
Yeah,
condition?
let me see if I can find in the,
The photos did have some that were, that one tree that was bowed, but I didn't know which one was which from the photos I saw.
so this would be the tree they seek to remove?
Okay, and the one to that, that's the other one behind?
Yes.
Okay, very good, thank you, that's my only question.
That's it.
That's my only questions and my only concerns.
Commissioner Roddy?
Once again, Commissioner Ventola has taken all of my questions, so I have nothing.
Nothing.
It appears to me with two large trees so close to each other that it would be advantageous for the house and the second tree to thrive a little bit more in a healthier environment if the one were removed.
Okay.
I might have a statement, no question.
Commissioner Feinstein?
Yeah, I have one question about the tree removal. You talked about the tree removal as a means to improve the grading around the house, and I was wondering if you had thoughts about how you're going to achieve that.
I should step in for that. The applicant has water intrusion issues, and they proposed to place concrete near the foundation to block water coming off the roof from pouring into the into the basement. And the photo was circulated among building inspection staff, and building inspection staff recommended that they don't add the concrete. And they also said that one potential issue would be the large trees in the backyard that are lifting the elevation, so potentially moving one of the trees would help even out the grade so water is not flowing down from the back towards the front, towards the foundation.
So it's not as a first step to doing a larger wholesale kind of grading?
No, we
It's just-
recommend that they do more grading than that, and I think they have already proceeded with that.
So but no pavement, just regrading to
Correct, yes.
keep the water away from the building?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you. So, Mark, let me start with you, and then the next item then would be the window wells. Or has everybody commented on everything?
No, I mean, I would like to say something on the window wells.
Okay.
I'm in
Well, Mark, let me
full
see if
agreement.
there's anything else on this application, because we do have the window replacement and we do have window wells. So anything more on either of those?
Yeah, from a question standpoint, I just wanted to make sure I understand, the need is twofold. It's one, the current windows are not operational and they're rusting and in bad condition, correct?
Correct.
And then you're looking to add a bedroom, so you need an egress window?
Correct.
Okay. Are we commenting now, or just?
Yeah,
questioning?
no, this is, would like to address
Yeah.
both the
Yeah.
other items in the application now, if we could.
Yeah, I understand the need. I do like the window that you represented in the application better than the 6/6 window, and on top of the concerns that Dean has about not having the 5.2 square feet of egress to exit the building, but just in terms of the actual look, which is more our purview here, that I like, if you're gonna replace it, do it in such a way that it kind of alludes to the existing metal windows, I think is more appropriate.
And I'm in agreement. I believe that the example of the window is preferable for historical accuracy, and from the view, even if it is going to have some bushes covering the area. And I also am pleased to see that the city staff has been able to help them come up with a solution for how to retain the original area above. So I'm very supportive of what's before.
Just for clarification, the basement windows would be removed as part of this application.
But replaced with similar but more
Correct.
weatherproof windows.
Yes.
And that I'm satisfied
Okay.
is appropriate.
Okay, great, thank you. John?
I'm fully in agreement.
Dean?
Okay, for the windows, the one that has the, we're talking the 4-light, which has the 3 stripes at the top, I like a lot because it mimics what's there now. I think that's
Exactly.
really very smart, very, very good. But I'm not concerned about whether that's changed to a double hung or not, just because it's mostly below grade, and it's going to have a grade over it. So I personally don't have any concern either way. I'll leave it to you guys. But I do have a concern on the concrete block as the areaway. I think that I'm in full agreement with the staff recommendation that at the very least, the top part of the lip should be made out of a more finished material, such as stone or some of the examples that you had, which was the cast stone. So, and those are my only thoughts. Oh, I'm so sorry. One more. When they cut down the tree, I recommend that it gets cut down to grade rather than have a stump exposed, because you can see it from the front.
I would imagine you're gonna wanna do that, and also get as much of the root and the root ball out as you can, if you're gonna wanna give the place for the water to go and stay away from the house. My only concern on this is twofold. One, to make sure that and I agree with Dean about the window that you selected, even if it costs a little bit more, you may come out ahead because the city has an actual diagram of what's required for safety reasons to be able to have a livable space down there, and I would hate to see you order a window that has the same external dimensions and go to all that trouble, and then somebody says, no, well, it's all well and good. But since it's a casement window, they really can't get out. So that would be my concern for you, that you go through a lot of time and trouble, then have to change the window, number one. Number two, I do agree, even though it's gonna be surrounded by bushes, to do something more aesthetic with the window well. And it doesn't have to be terribly expensive. You can use your cinder block up to the grade and then just put some small pieces of flagstone or something on top, so you can have the visual impact that's pleasant for the house and passerbys, but not cost you a lot of money. So that's all I've got. Chair's open to a motion.
I can move.
All right, thank you, Dean.
Okay, I'm in agreement with all three conditions. Does anyone have any concern on any of the conditions? I'm going to add one to the first condition, which is essentially to cut the stump down to grade. Everybody's in agreement with that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Based on that, I move that the Historic District Commission, based on the exhibits submitted in the staff report, findings and recommendation, grant HIST-7795-2017 tree removal, replace 4 basement windows, and install 2 window wells, finding it to be in compliance with section 24-227.2 of the city code with 3 conditions. Condition number 1, applicant must plant within 6 months after tree removal a replacement tree measuring 2.5 inches in diameter of a species suggested in the Chestnut Meem Historic District guidelines, as well as cut the tree down to grade. Condition number 2, applicant to work with staff to finalize plans for the window wells prior to issuance of the residential improvement permit. And condition number 3, the window well lips above grade must be built of paver stone approved by staff. The window well grates must be painted with a protective coating, and appropriate vegetation must be planted to screen the window wells from the right-of-way.
I guess prior to voting, I have a question with the motion. Are we limiting the window choice to what was in the application, or are we leaving it up to the applicant?
That's a great question. I also want to throw in an item on the color. I'm fine with either. You guys already know that. If you guys want to put that in as a condition to approve what's in the application, we can make that statement.
You raised a good point for me that it's all going to be below a grade. So you convinced me that to leave it more up to the applicant.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But
All
you
right.
wanted to address the color of the grade?
Yeah, thank you. Let me add another sentence on condition number 3, which is the window grate should be painted black to resemble cast iron, wrought iron, I'm sorry, to mimic wrought iron.
I'm wary of conditioning color.
Well, we've done it in the past. We would essentially what we're trying to do is condition material. So it should be wrought iron or something that looks like wrought iron.
Okay.
Does that sound acceptable? Okay.
Yes.
Council, are we okay with that?
Stated that way, yes, the way you just explained it.
Yes.
I
All right,
better write
thank
that
you.
down.
Thank you. To those in the audience, it's very important. We have jurisdiction over certain things, and we do not have jurisdiction over other things, and we're affecting any applicants, their time, their money, and their dwelling. And so it's important we address the things we're allowed to address and not go off the reservation, so to speak. So thank you, Dean, and thank you, Frank. Dean, anything else?
Yes, number 4, we're going to put another condition, and we're saying that are we referring to it as basement windows? Is that acceptable? The basement windows can be shown on the application, that is being casement, or they may be revised to double hung per the applicant's desire, provided that they meet the means of egress code.
I second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? 5-0. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Have happy Feliz Navidad.
Thank you.
And have happy holidays, and thank you so much for coming. Okay, now we come to the demolition permit of 7 Dalamar Street. And so, Krista, have we a presentation?
We do. The building at 7 Dalamar Street, most recently the Golden Bowl Restaurant, is a 2-story masonry building that was constructed circa 1955. It is not a designated property, either individually or as part of a district. The applicant seeks to have the building demolished and replaced with a Megamart grocery store. The property is zoned C2, General Commercial. The demolition permit comes before the HDC in accordance with Section 24-231 of the City Code, which requires buildings slated for demolition that are more than 50 years old to be reviewed by the HDC for architectural and historic importance in accordance with Section 24-226. The HDC has 2 options tonight. It can direct the city manager to issue the demolition permit, or if the building has the reasonable probability of being designated, it can direct the city manager to withhold issuance of the demo permit for up to 6 months. This is a photo of the building taken shortly after it was constructed in 1955. It originally was a bowling alley on the bottom floor with a roller skating rink on the top floor. 40 years ago, it was converted into a restaurant on the ground floor, and later a banquet hall was added to the top floor in 1992. And here are some more photos of the building's exterior recently. The 5,000 square foot addition on the rear, which you see here, was built in 1992 when the banquet hall debuted. Here's a view of the building from the Forest Oak Cemetery. Again, you see the addition on the rear. And here are some interior shots. This is the former restaurant space. And this is the second floor, the former banquet hall space. And this is the site plan. According to the applicant, the existing building cannot be adaptively reused into a grocery store. The applicant has offered to give away non-structural components to community members such as signage, doors, booths, and lighting fixtures. The applicant also said as much building material as possible will be reused. The historic preservation element of the 2003 Gaithersburg Master Plan does not mention 7 Dalamar Street, and the proposed 2018 update to the preservation element also does not include the property. A Maryland Inventory of Historic Properties form has not been completed for it. So in staff's opinion, the subject building lacks architectural significance. It has served as a community gathering spot, so it does possess some social heritage significance to the city, especially when it was a roller skating rink and bowling alley. But the interior has not served in that capacity for 40 years and bears little resemblance to its original use. So joining us tonight is Jeff Fuller of DNC Architects. If you have any questions, can you please come to the podium and state your name for the record?
Good evening. Waiting for us to...
Yes, you can state
Good
your name.
evening.
Good evening.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. My name is Gerson Lopez, and I represent Megamart Supermarket.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Fuller from DNC Architects here at 200 East Diamond.
Thank you, gentlemen. And again, as before, you're welcome to say anything, and there's no requirement to say anything.
Just a few points. Basically, the restaurant has been in decline. It was in declining business for quite some period of time. It had been up for sale for a while, and Megamart bought it basically the beginning of this year. Megamart's been a strong staple of downtown, or not downtown, but in down area of Gaithersburg for quite a few years. They're operating in a very small lease space across 355 with very inadequate parking, and they've been looking to try to be able to expand and better serve the community because they're very popular within the community. They try to do as good a service as possible. A number of their customers, quite frankly, walk to the store and are actually driven home by vans that the market provides for them. So they actually produce less traffic. In our traffic report, we haven't picked that up, but basically they generate a lot less traffic. But it's a very busy supermarket. They're an expanding business throughout the metropolitan area. In general, we agree with everything in the staff report in terms of the background of the building and what's there. You know, from our perspective, there's really nothing distinguishing when you look at the original building. It's sort of very utilitarian. I've been in Gaithersburg for a long time. I can't say that I've been quite far enough back to have been to the bowling alley and the things. And you know, if money was voting, or if you were voting with your money, I'd probably put 60% of mine into Chris's and 35% into Roy's and only 5% into the Golden Bowl. So it wasn't the top of my list, but over 40 years I patronized all of the historic restaurants that were in town. But basically, yes, we're looking to try to move forward. We're looking for a favorable recommendation so we can proceed with the demolition. The only thing that Chris indicated, we're not really planning to reuse anything in our building. It's more that we're trying to make things available to be recycled, and as part of the LEED process, we're going to maximize the amount of materials that can be removed and recycled. But at the present time, we've not found anything, even that gingerbread cake, that we can feel that we can use to reuse in the store. But we're open for any kind of questions that you might have.
Before, sir, anything?
No.
Okay, thank you. Now, anyone in the audience would like to speak to this in any way, you're welcome to. Okay. Let me check for conflicts on the dais. Anyone have any concerns? I think we start from Mark's end.
Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm up. One question for the, I guess, for staff, Chris. Once, should we decide to approve a demolition permit, would, I guess, because it's not technically in a historic district, the new designs and new drawings will not come before us, correct?
That is correct. It is not in a courtesy review area, so there would be no review by the HDC.
So it's purely to determine the historic significance of the property.
Correct.
Yeah, I've actually no questions, so we can do comments along with it, or I can wait for all the questions and then do comments.
If you want to comment, why?
Yeah.
By all means.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I don't think there's any real architectural historic significance to the structure. However, I can't say it doesn't. You know, I mean, as someone who's been in Gaithersburg for a while, there is a affinity towards the Golden Bowl. So, and I'm sure everybody has the same sort of affinity. So there is that. Whether or not that actually brings it to any kind of cultural historic significance, I don't think it does, in my opinion.
Thank you very much.
I think sadly that the millennials eat differently than we in our parents' day. And sadly, we've seen a lot of restaurants, as you named previously, and Sir Arthur's was another one. And also, I've read extensively the reasons why this building cannot be reused, and there's a lot of code issues sometimes with the older buildings. So that's what I have to say about that.
Jeff, I think, forgive me for saying so, but I don't think you're old enough to have been one who would favor the Golden Bull as a choice.
I guess that was the compliment.
He's a left-hander.
And when you said the parking was inadequate at their present location, I think you're being quite polite. I would agree. I don't see any architectural and historic significance to the place. Dealing with an issue like this, we have to strike a balance between fond memories, if you will, of what the place was. And I do recall it as a bowling alley 40 years ago. But we also have to focus on what is the highest and best use of this property now. And it is a critical area of the city. And we can't afford to have it sit vacant for very long. So I'd have to say I agree.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Dean?
It, to me, clearly has no architectural significance, so I have no concerns.
Right.
So if we take votes on the number of people that actually bowled or went to the roller rink, we're probably under one handful.
I'm taking, I forget if it was Sonny or Buddy, and then Junebug. Oh, that was his wife's name, wasn't it?
Yes.
It's great. I always bat last, but I agree with all the commissioners. I have fond memories and a warm feeling in my tummy. We've been, my wife and I and family have been in all parts of it downstairs. We've been upstairs for wedding receptions and so forth. But also, I've been over on the other side where you're currently located, and I think John is right. You're being very charitable to say it's a challenge. So I wish you every success in moving forward, and I thank you for offering, if there are stuff that materials that can be reused, that you'll make them available, and they may or may not be. So the chair is, would it be a motion on this, that we accept
Yes.
the recommendation?
Correct.
All right, the chair is open to a motion.
I suppose I could read this motion.
No, you don't have
I
to.
suppose I could.
We can put Vice Commissioner Roddy to work. He's been sitting here having a wonderful time tonight.
Okay, let me see if I've got this right. I move that we approve the demo 15500-2017, demolition of building more than 50 years old, former Golden Bull, 7 Dalamar Street, C2 General Commercial Zone. I move that this is based on the exhibits submitted, the applicant's testimony, the staff report, findings, recommendation, make a determination that the building that's over 50 years old, located at 7 Delmar, does not meet the criteria for historic or architectural significance as specified in 24-226 of the City Code, and does not direct the city manager to withhold issuance of demo 15500-2017 with one condition. The applicant shall have all salvageable building materials and appliances removed before demolition, and can I add and recycle where possible?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Have we a second?
Yes, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Okay, you're abstaining, Dean?
Mhm.
Okay, so 4, and 1 abstention.
Gotcha.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. Good luck.
Thank you and enjoy your holidays.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays for everyone.
Okay, we now have a courtesy review on an addition to 102 South Frederick Avenue.
And presenting is my colleague planner, Jasmine Forbes.
Good evening. Here.
Good
Aye.
evening.
Good evening.
So this is a courtesy review for the property located at 102 South Frederick Avenue. If you look at the screen with aerial, currently the building is right located at the corner of Cedar Avenue and South Frederick Avenue. This application is for the Historic District Commission because the property is located at the Observatory Heights courtesy review. Pursuant to section 22-227.4, the Historic District Commission may review and make recommendations to the Planning Commission on applications for site development plan approvals. So the applicant is requesting to construct a 2-story, 500 square foot addition to the existing office building. The existing building is a 2,903 square foot, 2-story Queen Anne style frame building that was built in 1912 and was formerly used as a residence. So I have some existing photos of the building. So this is the front. This is facing South Frederick Avenue. On May 10th, 2017, the property was granted staff approval application AFP-7596-2017 for the demolition of the exterior siding walls to remove the asbestos installation and reconstruct the exterior walls with brick. So you can see in the photos right now, currently 3 sides of the building is currently covered in brick.
Gotcha. And what we're seeing there is the new brick?
Yes, so this is what
thank you. All right.
is currently there right now.
Mhm.
So I will have the architect for the project to go into more detail what's being proposed.
Good.
So
Well,
go ahead, Amy. You should-
before we turn it over, welcome to the staff.
Thank you.
You are, as our mayors would say, it's the best little city, not so little, ever. So you have joined a bunch of really talented, dedicated people in a great city. So welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Sure. Sir, I apologize.
Good evening. My name is Franz Carretero, and I am the project manager for the design team on this project. And as she was saying, this is an addition on Mr. Leon's property. It's two-story addition with basement. The details on the of the exterior walls are similar as the existing building. As you know, this building was approved to have a new brick face on the three existing walls. We're gonna match the existing brick. Also, we're matching the existing windows. The sizes are slightly bigger than the existing ones, but the type of windows are at the same type. The exterior walls are going, or the exterior doors are going to be wood. And also, we're gonna do some work on the parking lot. We're gonna provide resurface the parking lot, do the spaces, paint the spaces, and put all the handicap signs and all the requirements that the city and the codes require.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody from the audience that would like to speak to this? All right. Have we any conflicts on the dais?
No.
All right, Dean, we're going to start at your end this time.
Okay, first, I guess, do you have any floor plans that will show me, because I had a real hard time figuring out what walls were going to be pulled out and what walls were going to be flush. I really have I'm still having a hard time understanding the massing. So do you have any floor plans that were submitted?
Yes, we have some floor plans. Also, I would like to add that we're gonna do a small demolition in the rear of the building. It's about 12 by 12 addition that's been done in an unsafe manner. It was just built on a slab. Structurally speaking, it's not the correct way, so we're gonna demolish this addition, and that's where the a bigger addition is going to be done. So I have a floor plans where you can see all the new work. I'm not showing that I didn't print out the demolition, but you can see.
No, I didn't have a digital copy.
I'm gonna.
I would add, the site plan does show you the massing as well, and that
Well,
was an exhibit that was included.
It's kind of not clear to me, I guess. I did see the site plan, but I was not sure what walls were being moved, what were being kept.
Yeah, do you want to
Go over there.
This is
We have two architects up here, so they will be examining this with great care.
All right, so that's essentially what's happening is this thing is no longer going to exist, and that changes the style. So that answers my concern.
I would add that we will add this as an exhibit as well for someone, so it would be exhibit 6 that will be added.
Okay, all right. I guess what we could do, Chris, when you are available, let's go to each drawing he has of the, I guess, start with the front elevation. Perfect. Okay, for the east elevation, my question, sir, is, it appears to me from your diagram, that the only change that's being made are the two set of stairs. The one on the left that goes to the second story and the one on the right that's for for the first floor. Is that a correct statement in your mind, that nothing is going to change from the existing building on this front elevation?
And the
Or am
front
I missing
elevation,
something?
the front elevation is it's not gonna be any work done.
No changes whatsoever?
No.
Okay.
On the left side, which is
Okay, that's okay, we're gonna come to that. So the pitch that you're showing on the front elevation
okay.
may be lower than the photo, the actual thing in reality. So my real question is, that's not being touched, right? We're keeping that pitch exactly the way it currently is built?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
All right, the next, I guess, slide. Okay, this is the north elevation, which I believe faces the side road. My question was just answered by the drawings that you gave us, but it gives me a concern on the massing that you're having here. And my point is, let me start with a bigger picture issue. I read in the staff report that this building is a Queen Anne style, which I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but that's of the Victorian nature, and no one will argue that. I think over the years, if it was Queen Anne, which was a very highly developed, highly ornate project, I guess those details all went away long ago when somebody went and took the original wood siding and put asbestos siding. So it may have been a Queen Anne one day long ago, but nevertheless, it's still Victorian. So there are details in Victorian architecture, to me, that are extremely strong. High-pitched gable roofs, and then partially octagonal or hexagonal bump outs, which this building has, or currently has. But it appears that that bump out is going to be, I'd say, kind of removed because you're absorbing it in the new building addition. So I find that to be a bit of a concern for me. That is, it's looking like it's neither Victorian nor non-Victorian. It looks like it's a little bit of a clash. To add to this, something that happened, unfortunately, an unfortunate design move before you guys even came, was the addition on the front. They put a mansard roof on a Victorian building. So I'm finding that that's going from bad to not better, let's put it that way. I also have concerns that you're putting windows where the defining place of the bump out of the bay should be. So visually, structurally, you can do almost anything, but visually it looks like it's a little bit disconcerting to me. It's not what the Victorian architects would have done. Can you go to the next elevation, please, then? And then lastly, I guess, actually, this is the third, so I guess there's four. So third is this elevation, which is very nice. This is the rear elevation, but there's a few issues with it that give me concern. One is the design of this, the style of this, does not look Victorian to me, or Queen Anne to me. It looks more federal. And so that's, to me, introduced, and it's very nice. If you say you're designing a federal building, I think it's very nice. But it's not Victorian. So now we have Victorian house with a mansard on the front and federal on the back. And so I'm finding that to be disconcerting. The other thing, too, is that the roof pitch that you have here, and that's why I asked you about it on the front elevation, appears to be much less steep than the front roof. And I think the roof that's peeking out over the right-hand side of your elevation is indicating to me that it isn't the same roof pitch. So I have a big concern about that. I think that massing is going to look a little odd. Not from the rear elevation, because you won't see it, but when you go to the next elevation, I guess the side, yeah, that's my big point, where you're essentially changing roof pitch, which then will create what I consider in the green portion in the front, towards the front of the building, a rather unusual roof. It looks like it's gable, cross gable on the front part of that roof, but then a hip on the back. But it's being married to, I guess, a gable, cross gable on the back. So I'm finding that to not be helpful to facilitate the image of the Victorian. And it's giving me personally a little bit more of, let's say, less of an architectural style. I'm not sure what style I would even call that. And then I guess I can't tell, and that's why I was asking for the drawings. It appears to me that this is now going to be a single plane in your drawing, which I think it currently is, but I'm not sure. Is that correct? Even the reason I asked is you have dash lines and vertical lines, and I'm not sure. But is it a single plane, all the same plane on that elevation? Not the roofs, but the brick wall.
The walls?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
The
Okay.
new wall is flashing with the existing wall, and we're doing that because we don't want to disturb the parking spaces.
Okay.
And the pitch of the roof, we end up getting that pitch because of the structural existing situation with the roof that you can see it on Exhibit 2.
Right. The roof plan.
Yeah.
The existing roof plan. That's not bad. If you can bring
So-
that on the screen, you could show.
Existing roof plan?
This, yeah.
You have the roof plan?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, the purpose was just to not exceed the reach of this section of the building. Otherwise, we're gonna have to remove the whole piece of roof on this side, so we can accomplish what you're saying, to make the whole roof one reach level, and also give it a more height and slope to the addition. So if we want to accomplish that, we're going to have to do some changes, structurally speaking, to this existing roof and make it all the same height.
Jasmine, are you able to go to the roof plan? I think it's one of the first, maybe the first picture.
Are you talking about the site plan?
No, there's a roof. There's a photo in aerial I thought I saw in this package. I thought it was the first thing shown. Yeah. Are you able to zoom in on that? Sure. Yeah, what I'm saying is currently, right where the marker is, that hand marker, that's a single plane. There's no stepping, but in your new proposal, it appears to me that you're actually removing that roof and rebuilding it at a lower pitch. And that, I'm not so sure visually is compatible. Well, I should restate it. I don't believe that's visually compatible with the Victorian nature of the existing building. So my big suggestion is, and forgive me if this is the question and answer part, my real big suggestion is to try and bring it more into the Victorian style, with the Victorian massing, not necessarily the details, but the massing, rather than obliterate them. And one last thing, Jasmine, could you go to, I think it's the rear elevation on perspective photograph.
Oh, the photograph.
Yeah, there you go, that's it. This, to me right now, that is a beautiful Victorian building.
Okay.
But what I understand, if I'm reading it properly, your addition essentially is going to cover all of that. This is no longer going to exist. And that's the best part of the building, is the massing. And I'm afraid that you're going to change it dramatically, stylistically in particular. So that was my only comments.
All right. Thank you very much, Dean. John?
Yes. Jasmine, could we go to the north elevation, please?
The proposed hotel?
Yes, please. If I understand correctly, sir, the current windows on the building are 1/1. Is that correct?
What do you mean, one over one?
One pane over one pane.
Yes, yes.
And building off of what Commissioner Ventola said, I don't believe 1/1 is consistent with what they were when they originally were put in the building. I think these were replacement windows. But your proposal is 9/9, and this inconsistency does give me some concern. Now, some of the Victorian windows were 9/1, but they're usually smaller windows than what we're dealing with here.
Okay.
But something to think about, please.
Yes, I will
That's all.
consider that.
John, thank you.
I agree with both commissioners, and I have nothing on my end.
Mark?
Yeah, I think when doing an addition to a existing historic building, or a building that is of a specific style, and even though there's been some amendments over the years to this style, it still has that basic Victorian look to it. I think you can do take it one of two ways. You can either differentiate the addition in such a way that its massing is provided in such a way that you can tell the existing building how it was there, it's still there, and it's not changed by the addition. Or you can kind of try to match the addition stylistically to the existing structure in keeping with the regular forms, the shapes, the proportions of the existing building. I think, picking up on what the other commissioners have said, the addition, at least from the rear elevation, is where I see it the most. It speaks a different language, but not different enough that it's in my opinion, it's still fighting it a little bit, fighting the existing building, as opposed to differentiating it enough that it would complement it. And that's my biggest issue with it. I wish there was some modulation or something that would kind of start to make the addition feel of that age, of that era, or at least proportionally of the Victorian style. And that's what I would like to see, if there's some sort of, rather than being kind of a big rectangle off the rear, try to have some sort of undulation, some sort of something that would kind of give it some sort of rhythm.
And complement it.
Thank you very much, Mark. Jasmine, can you, I don't know which number it is, but there's one that shows the existing roof line and then then the new one going down like this. Can you put that one up? I don't know the number.
Are you talking about?
That's perfect.
The west elevation?
Yeah. This is my major concern. I don't disagree with anything else that's been said, and in particular, and it shouldn't be a big stretch rather than 9/9 windows to go to 2/2s or something that's more compatible with existing. So the thing that troubles me on this, and I think is going to cost your client money, is lowering that gable. I swear to God, when I look at it, it just looks like a pre-made truss. And I don't, I'm not an architect, so but to steal their vernacular, it's almost derogatory language to this building. So I'm just wondering, and again, I'm not the one that's having to meet the codes and do the construction there, but I'm just wondering if there's not a way to more utilize the pitch of that existing roof on the right-hand side as I'm looking at it. So that's my major concern with it. I also agree with you on the back massing, but at the same time, really, sort of in accord with Commissioner Roddy said earlier, we do live in the 21st century now, and understandably, if you're doing an addition, you want to do it in the most cost-efficient manner. So there, on the one hand, from a cost standpoint, why not just extend a wall out and cut it in? But if you did nothing else than alter the windows, but really see if you could save that existing roof line on the right-hand side, and with the gable on that roof on the left, when you look at it from the end, is really a nice pitch. It's almost a 12 by 12.
Okay.
So that would be my comment.
Okay.
I have a solution. They may not want to go with it, but I have an idea.
Well, it's a courtesy review, and let me be honest with you. Way before I was on this commission, I was on a predecessor, which was an advisory committee. But before being a member of that, we restored a house at 102 Center in 1892, folk Victorian. And we came before that commission 5 times. And we were lucky enough to have some really good architects. And they gave us suggestions that were gold. So, Dean, weigh in and just consider this a gift from some very talented, committed people.
The biggest thing that I would suggest to resolve at least my concerns with the massing is I see that you have the full width of the house in the rear elevation, the west elevation, which then is forcing you to have a low-pitched roof, which is also then forcing you to have that other roof in the front be incompatible with the new roof.
Okay.
If you reduce the width of that addition, I don't know if you're able to grow it towards the back, but if you can reduce the width and match that width of the front elevation, it'll do many things for me, but the biggest 2 things it'll do is it will increase the roof pitch, which will be more Victorian proportion. When Chris says 12-12, it looks like a 12-12. It does to me as well. On the existing front, that would allow you to do the 12-12 or the same pitch on the back. It would also then allow, another thing which is important to me, is it'll allow the bump out, the portion of the hexagonal bump out bay, to then still exist, which is so imageable as a Victorian piece of architecture. And then it'll do the third thing is by being more narrow, it'll align with the roof above or in the front, and therefore that plane, which it currently is straight, will remain straight. So those things would help you significantly, and I'm in full agreement with revising the windows, but the massing would change easily and dramatically if you can make it the same width as the front, and if you're able to grow it towards the back, grow it out further, then you can keep up with the square footage that you're interested in.
And if you needed some additional square footage, potentially you could even do another bump out off the rear.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Well, thank you, commissioners. Thank you very much. It's an interesting project. I hope our thoughts and ideas have been helpful to you. And Jasmine, again, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Really, there's no motion for us or anything?
That's our recommendation.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
They're obviously not obligatory, but just something for you to consider as you work with your client. But this is an investment already for the owner. It is going to be additional investment. I would think if you're able to incorporate some, if not all, of these ideas tonight, you're going to have your owner end up with a more valuable property in the long run.
Yeah, if I just may say one thing. The reason we're trying to do this is that, I'm sorry, my name is.
Can you go to the mic, please?
Please, and welcome, sir.
I'm actually the owner of the building.
Good for you. It's a
Thank
beauty.
you.
And
It
good
is.
for you.
It's been such a journey, painful but also pleasant in certain ways.
Yes,
You go
it's
through
like
the history.
childbirth.
Yeah,
Yes.
I went to Gaithersburg High School, graduated in '78, and this is kind of coming back home.
Go Trojans.
A little bit, yes. But just the addition in the back, and the reason that this all started was we were putting brick around, and then we realized the city realized that the addition that was there was done illegally. It was done with no foundation. It was just garbage and dirt. So we had to take it out. And that's the whole reason we started doing this. So to say that it looked good, it didn't look good, in my personal opinion, from the rear. I think we're improving it, but what do I know? So basically, just wanted to let you know that we are there trying to make it a better place than it is. We're not trying to, but space is important to us. But thank you. I appreciate your.
Without a doubt. And there's an old saying in journalism that the best is the enemy of the good. So you do have an existing structure which has been altered. So we, if we could all start from scratch, who knows where we would all be, but hopefully, well, first off, commend you for taking it on, and definitely it's an improvement, and definitely it's something that's going to be structurally sound as well as legal, And hopefully these suggestions tonight may be aesthetically and cost-effective for you.
I
Because you
appreciate
got a
it.
heck of an investment there.
It's a nice building. It's a beautiful building. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your
Thank you.
time. Happy holidays to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Last words, I would like to tell you that thank you so much for the advice. And you know, this is just in paper, so we don't put any break on the side, so we can correct it, and
Excellent.
perhaps the next time it's gonna look the way the city likes.
We are looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And the other thing is, sir, having been through a lot of this my own self, what you had to do to remove the asbestos and what you had to do to try and conform and bring back in compliance, on the one hand was brutal. On the other hand, where you are now, you can now come back with what you want because you're already way in.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, staff, updates. Eagerly awaiting.
I wanted to thank you all for attending tonight's unscheduled meeting.
You gave us no choice.
That's it.
We originally set up this meeting to review a city project which didn't make it on the agenda. We had all these other,
Bait and switch.
we had plenty of other applications to take forward tonight. So. But we thank you for your continued service. And happy holidays to all.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anything from any of the commissioners for the good of the order?
Just one thing, and I'm sorry, I should have written notes, but I didn't. My understanding is what we discussed as far as the historic master plan is getting ready to come to approval.
Correct.
And about 3 meetings ago, I discussed one concern, which was about what city staff could approve. And then we, this board, are charged with setting certain criteria, which we haven't done yet. So I thought I'd bring that up.
Okay, that's something that we could take up at a future meeting.
Great.
No, that's a perfect thing to bring up.
You don't want to do it tonight?
No, I think we're running out of time.
Not tonight.
Any
Just wanted to put
other
on record.
commissioners or Frank or Greg? Anything?
No.
All right, well, I have something to say, and I'm glad staff is here and commissioners. I am very proud and honored to be part of this commission with you all fellow commissioners and with the staff we have. I mean, it is really extraordinary. And it's way beyond the norm, and I'm very, very appreciative of the hard work and thinking, the staff work that goes into it, you commissioners preparing and giving your thoughtful comments, and don't take it for granted. So just really a big, big, big thanks, and you know, happy, safe, fun holidays for everybody.
Thank you.
So the chair is open to a motion to adjourn.
You got one.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Happy holidays.
Yay.